Shut up, Evan. Shut up, Evan. Shut up, Evan.
Wonderful. How was that for you?
That felt so good.
Cathartic. We met 2 years ago at a work function. We have a mutual, very good friend, and I left that night being like, Lizzy and I are gonna be in each other's lives. I was like, it's meant to be. Cut to. But we're back now.
We're back. Best friends forever.
Because you live here now.
Now I live here. So where are you?
I'm in downtown Brooklyn.
Oh, I'm even closer to you. I'm in Fort Greene.
Oh. You've got it good in Fort Greene.
The best.
My God.
The best.
Yeah. Do you know Miss Ada?
Yeah. I mean all of it is there's like the highest concentration, I feel like. But we took Max is our mutual friend, Max Berlinger, and he came with me to pick my son up from school because all he wanted to do was take him to Panda Express in downtown Brooklyn for the first time. My son did not care. It was very exciting for us to eat the orange chicken, but Max, who's a fashion journalist, was wearing a red Prada jacket, and the Panda Express uniform is red as well. So now my son thinks that Uncle Max owns Panda Express.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'd be lucrative for him if he did.
It'd be pretty amazing.
Do you feel like the orange chicken held up to memory?
Definitely not. It was so
not.
bad. No.
Huh.
But I haven't consistently been going back.
Yeah.
And so I think if I like a fast food, I do. It's not like, oh, I haven't had it in 20 years. It's like I probably had it 2 months ago.
I do think there's something about having fast food in New York City that makes it taste, you want it. It's almost what you're saying. It's like you think it'll taste better, but if you've gone too long without having it, it's like you actually need to keep it consistent. I remember it was like my sophomore year of college going to the one Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
It's an Express on 14th Street, and being like, oh my God, I found a Pizza Hut, a taste of home, quote unquote. And then having it and being like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
And they never quite recovered.
It's true. It's like the airport, how everything tastes worse at the airport.
Yeah.
Taco Bell in New York is like an abomination.
Yeah, not good.
And great in LA.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, need to come out to LA.
Yeah, you do.
Lizzy Caplan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm particularly excited because I guess now we can reveal the fact that you are here in promotion of your film, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. You are not credited in the film because you are a reveal.
A reveal.
That happens in a prison sequence.
That's right.
In which you are in old person makeup, and you make quite an impact.
I mean, say more about that.
Well, the funny thing about this film is you get, before your reveal, we get the reveal of the return of Morgan Freeman as well. And so, you know, already you come into this movie, you're like, okay, it's this returning cast, which is already so stacked.
Of 700 people.
Right.
700 movie stars.
And many of whom have gotten more famous in the time since the last one, because y'all take a minute to...
It's been like 10 years, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Why?
That's above my pay grade. I don't
It's just interesting because I've never seen something. It's like both of these previous films have been wildly successful.
Yeah.
And we've grown accustomed to like when a thing does well and it's franchisable.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get on that. But
I don't know what it maybe. I mean, I'm sure scheduling is not easy for that, but they kept changing the idea. I heard like whispers of it over the last 10 years that it was going to be this and then it was going to be something else. And now it's this. And I think it's the best version of what it could have been.
It's fantastic. I feel like Rosamund Pike as the villain, it just levels the film up in quite a way.
Totally.
And she started in with that accent, and I was like, I don't know about this. And then after 2 minutes, I was like, I know about this.
Yeah, you know about this.
I know about this.
I don't want it to
and
ever
I like
leave.
this.
Yeah.
Now, this film reunites you with Isla Fisher.
Yes.
For those that don't know, she appeared in the first film. Then you came in the second film. She could not appear in the second film because she was then pregnant.
Yes.
This film, we get our first taste of you two together on screen in this franchise. However, it's not the first time you two have been together on screen.
True.
In fact, you are co-stars in what I would honestly say, I would put it in like, I hate superlatives, but it is one of the greatest films. Bachelorette. It's shocking to me that more people do not know about this film.
Yeah.
And maybe that is a failure of marketing. I'm not sure who to cast blame on.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's definitely like culty. People love it who know it. and then a lot of people don't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So when you found out you were going to do the second film in this franchise, I'm sure that was very exciting. But what was it like to then know that you were going to reunite with Isla?
Well, I think for just film in general, it's nice that there's room for more than one girl character, which took us 3 movies to figure out. And we have a third one, Ariana, the little angel beauty.
And add Rosamund, and it's like,
yeah
this
4
is like,
women.
Yeah.
What is this?
How are we going to handle this?
Chick flick. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I hadn't seen Isla in more than 10 years, since Bachelorette. She was, I think she had just given birth to her second kid when we were shooting Bachelorette. So she was like on a whole different trip, which I couldn't understand because the rest of us were like out of control on that movie and so many years away from like having kids or any real responsibilities. And now that I have one, I think about how she had to make that movie with that group of maniacs while also going home and like breastfeeding her kid, and that's like very heroic. Yeah.
You know, I had a similar reaction when I was listening to Reese Witherspoon recently. She was interviewed on The Interview, which is the New York Times podcast. It's a great podcast. I don't love the name, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it doesn't stick with you.
It doesn't stick with
you.
But she was talking about the fact that, you know, she gave birth to her daughter, I think it was like in 2001 or something, and it totally reframed the fact that all throughout, like, you know, the boom of like Legally Blonde and Walk the Line and all of these films that she was making when she was really like on the up and up, she was also a young mother, and that never was really part of the conversation. And I'm wondering now, being a mother, do you look back at people that you've worked with, or does it sort of change your perspective in how much people were having to not necessarily sacrifice, but the work they were having to do to both get the job done, but also be an active parent at home?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was like an annoying, younger, just like, let's go out every night. Like, if I was around a cast that was having that experience while I was like dealing with like the total mind fuck of being a mom to a new baby, where like your whole personality is like totally split, I would hate everybody. And Isla didn't hate us, but like I would hate everybody because it would just be like, my life is over. I'm like home now with a kid. That sucks. That's confusing to me. And she didn't let that show, but I do think, like, I look back on that now. It's like, wow.
It's also particularly funny given that her character is just a huge cokehead. So she's everything that a mother probably maybe shouldn't be. Maybe, you know, maybe they can balance it. But so it's especially funny just knowing how wonderful she is. Now you see me, now you don't.
Yeah.
As we said earlier, it's like it's been a while since the last film. This is not one of those franchises that just bangs them out.
No.
When you got the call about being involved, I imagine that was particularly exciting because this is a great group of people. As I mentioned, you're adding Rosamund Pike into the fold here. It's having you and Isla on screen together for the very first time. Did it take some time to recalibrate to like what this energy is, having this many stars on set together? Because it's rare to have a film with this many people who could be number one on the call sheet in any other film.
And yet, it's the best group of people. Like it's not any sort of like ego jockeying. I laugh more making these movies than probably anything. I mean, it's equal to like the side-splitting belly laughs that we would have on Party Down, for sure. Like, it is, I love them. I love making these movies. It is so, so, so fun.
Do you think there's any correlation between the fun had on set and an audience's experience of the work?
Totally.
But can I give you, I'm asking it, but can I give you that?
Yes.
My favorite show, one of my favorite shows, Sex and the City.
Yes.
We learned after the fact, you know, some contentious relationships, a lot of dynamics behind the scenes that I don't think is present at all in the show. You get nothing but this idea that these 4 women are there to the end. And so there are examples of difficult sets that we've heard about after the fact where you do not see it present in the work. But when it is good, you do think it does affect the outcome.
I think for these movies, it does. Not all the time. It definitely doesn't mean like the more fun you're having on set, the better the finished product's going to be, like, at all. But I think for something like this, where we're supposed to be this like merry band of whatever, it does help. And to answer your earlier question, yeah, it was like nobody skipped a beat. We were still like singing stupid songs about like go. The problem is I can't ever give like examples because none of them will be funny unless you were there and talking about like, you know, we write like songs of, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Everybody's just like so immature, like a 4-year-old boy, and like making music about, you know, like pooping and like penises and stuff. Like that's what we do. We're grown-ups. I mean, Woody's like 60 something years old, and I could play you some of these songs and they are stupid and delightful.
Stupid and delightful.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to ask about your relationship with interviews. And I'm going to reference The Interview once again.
Okay.
Because they just had Jennifer Lawrence on, and she said this. She said, doing interviews is really scary. I'm very blessed, I'm very lucky, I'm very grateful, but it's terrifying. You finish an interview or you're gearing up to finish a film and the circus tent curtains are opening. You're putting yourself out there and you're putting yourself out there to be picked apart. Do you relate at all to that quote? Does that resonate for you in any way?
I relate to the like anxious aftermath of like, oh God, what did I just say? Did I say that? I now completely forget what I said. Like I will text you after this being asking what we talked about, which I think is a better way to do it. Also, like I'm operating in a very different lane than Jennifer Lawrence. People really do want to pick every single thing she says apart. That's like some upper echelon golden handcuffs shit. I still think I can kind of say what I want because it doesn't feel like enough people are paying attention, which is great. Which is great.
I kind of look at it as like, if I had the option or opportunity or whatever you want to call it to be famous, I kind of look at your kind of fame as like the most aspirational, because you get to make incredible work consistently throughout your career.
Yeah.
You get to work with really great people. You are known and recognized and revered, and yet I imagine that you can still walk through Fort Greene and drive a car, operate heavy machinery, do all the things. Is that a correct assessment?
That's correct. I agree with that. I don't, but it's weird. Like I only consider like the Jennifer Lawrence's like proper famous. I just consider myself like an actress that gets to do cool shit. But yes, I think the perfect thing and worth remembering is the level where I find myself, where I have some agency over the choices I make and the parts I get to play, and I get to still continue to do like really like work that excites me, and I can get reservations to whatever restaurant and people leave me alone. It is really like the sweetest of all sweet spots.
But do you ever feel when you're beginning the promo cycle around a new project, I understand you don't feel like every word of yours is going to be picked apart, but do you ever feel a component of Dance Monkey Dance where it's like, I got to come on? I interviewed an actor recently and she texted me in advance being like, can you let me know which topics you want to come in so I can do some homework and have stories ready? And I thought that was really interesting because I on the one hand I was like, oh, you don't need to do that. But then I realized I was like, well, maybe for her she does, right? It's like maybe it actually is something where she wants to come in and feel like she's done the preparation, even though I'm from my seat being like, no prep.
Chill,
I want you
chill.
loose. Yeah.
I know.
Come as you are.
Yeah, I for podcasts it feels chiller because it is just like a chat. But for talk shows, like late night talk shows, those really terrify me still.
Yeah.
Like I take those very seriously.
Well, that also has like that compact like 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you do like the pre-interview. That to me feels the most Dance Monkey Dance because you're literally in front of an audience.
It's so weird.
And there's a talkie. It's basically like you're coming on. You must promote film, but then also it's like you get a story.
Funny story.
Yeah,
I've talked to people like segment producers on those shows because I'm nuts and I have to talk to them like many times to sort of like figure out what to say. And but I'm very prepared for that. But I have asked them and they said, yeah, there are fully people who go on those shows and the pre-interview is like, so. Anything exciting happening? Yeah, I don't know. I did this movie. Like talking to your teenage daughter. Like they have no stories, and it's just like the segment producer has to like carve out something interesting from like a super lame, boring conversation. Yes. But that to me is like big balls. If you could go in with nothing to say, they'll figure it out.
I've always been really interested in, and I'm sure they, are on lock and key, but hearing from the segment producers, the ones who really get to interact with all the talent. And there's separate things, right? It's like who's easy to work with, which is its own thing I'm always fascinated with. But also it's like who's offering up, who's making the job easier by saying, coming in, understanding, what needs to be asked of them. And then I'm going to offer you, hijinks ensued when I did X.
Totally.
When you are recognized around Fort Greene, what is the project that you're recognized for that you feel the most reverence for being recognized for?
A loaded question. Because like the thing that probably means the most to people that I've done is Mean Girls. And that remains like this evergreen sort of thing with every like generation of people's teenage daughters. They all watch it still, which is crazy. I don't understand. But I feel very lucky to be a part of it because the people that come up to me are usually like the outcast kids and it helped them in some way. So I like that. I love a boomer woman approaching me about Masters of Sex. That was one of my favorite things, like, because it happened a lot more when it was on, and they would just tell me some crazy ass shit, like your mom telling me like real horny shit, and that was fascinating.
Well, that was a really horny show in a way that there aren't like comps to it necessarily. I think part of the reason why people got so amped about Hunting Wives was being able to see explicit sex scenes back on TV. And when I was sort of, going through my brain thinking like, when was the last time there was really consistently hot sex scenes? I was like, Masters of Sex is really that show.
Well, like Challengers, that movie, I was so happy that this generation got that movie because they don't get any of that. Yeah. Like we were raised on really kind of like smutty, gross stuff.
Yes.
And they don't, like that's by far the horniest movie that they have.
I think the problem is, I would imagine both from actors today and those people making movies, because of the internet and everything becoming clippable, I think there might be a reticence to make those kind of steamy sex scenes that were so formative for people of our age, because you don't necessarily want the permanence of it existing on the internet.
Yeah.
And so because of the fucking internet,
Once
we're
again,
robbed, of smutty sex. What about Party Down? Is that something too where I would imagine it's like when someone comes up and knows Party Down and wants to stop you for it, it's like game recognizing game.
Absolutely.
Sort of. Yeah.
That's like, but I kind of think that I've been in enough stuff that people feel that way about, which you could look at it as it's like it's a cult thing because it never was that successful. But I do think that people feel like an ownership over shows like Party Down in a great way.
Yes.
Like it belongs to them, which I love because that, and it is game recognized. Like if you say you like Party Down, I'm like.
But it's interesting you say this because like thinking about your origin with Freaks and Geeks, which is another example of a show that did not do well at the time and has this massive cult following of people who really believe it to be one of the great television shows.
When's the last time you watched that show?
Probably 6 years ago. I did a rewatch before COVID.
It's so good.
Thinking about Freaks and Geeks, thinking about Party Down, do not have wide audiences, but are not only really beloved, but have a permanence. And I'm wondering, like, what would be more valuable to you to be a part of, like, a hit CBS show that runs for 10 seasons, that has a lot of viewers, but no heft to it, weight in terms of, like, how it stays in the culture, or being a part of like some of the projects you've been, like the ones I just named, that might not have done well in the conventional sense of doing well, but have these fandoms that really feel seen and that keep it in the conversation years, if not decades later.
Yes, that's nice. And I would always choose the latter. I always, even when like being on a CBS show for 10 years was like meant what it did that many, like 20 years ago, that was like every single person on earth would know your show, would know your name, the character you play, even if they didn't watch the show.
Right.
Like the sitcoms were so huge for so long. And I never wanted that. I always wanted, when I was young even, like I'm talking about like the old landscape, pre-streaming, all of that, when like those network shows were like the big tent things. I always wanted more than anything like some cool HBO show that like not many people watched, but maybe people that make the movies and TV shows that I like watch, so that it's insular. Nobody's like, the idea of like wanting to be famous where people mob you on the streets is like, my brain has never been able to compute that. Even the smallest interaction does make me uncomfortable. It feels weird. So I don't know how anybody, I mean, you get used to it, I guess, but like it's like a prison. It sucks.
Yeah. It's funny. I think increasingly so many young people aspire to some level of fame, whether it be, as an actor or as an influencer, but sort of like crave this visibility without understanding that like there are a ton of sacrifices that come with that visibility.
It's so not worth it. Yeah. Like 99% of the time, I can't imagine that people are like, yeah, that was worth it. I don't know. I don't. But again, yes, everybody wants to be famous now. It used to be like when I was coming up that the people who wanted to be famous, like that was kind of a dirty little secret, like embarrassing. And now people just really want, and they don't want it for anything other than just like fame for fame's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, look, this is like not that hot a take here, but that is so strange to me that you just want that version, which I guess translates to like free shit or like trips maybe. I mean, like, what are you getting? I mean, free shit is very seductive, especially for young people. I get that. And I guess like being famous and have people like know who you are within the internet is, I don't know. I'm just like such a fucking dinosaur about this stuff. Like, I don't get it. I really do believe like the internet's going to blow over.
I think there have been a series of actors recently who have been in one thing that did pretty well, right? That got a lot of attention and have, as a result, been able to grow massive social media followings and take up a lot of the attention economy. But then, like, there aren't new roles or things in the pipeline for fans of theirs to go see or react to, that they sort of are forced to become more influencer than actor as a result of needing to continue to do the dance.
Yeesh.
And so you see people who start going to lots of fashion shows and are showing up at all the galas. And on the one hand, I understand it, right? Because it is sort of like visibility does get you somewhere, not just in this industry in general, but there's the part of me that's like, I know that if I were an actor, and it's easy to say this from my perspective, but I'd want the thing that people approach me to be like, I loved Masters of Sex.
Yeah.
I can't get it out of my mind all these years later.
I don't know if that's the same for people coming up now, but I also don't think it's fully their fault. I think they've been told that they have no choice. I was like the last generation where you kind of did have a choice, but I'm like definitely the only person, actor friend I know that doesn't have some like sort of social media presence. Actually, that's not true. There's maybe like a couple more. But yeah, I know, like I talk to younger actors now, and there's no option. Like, you have to be doing this as well. You have to be like self-promoting all the time, which is fucking nonsense. Yeah. Like, that's not actually the job that you're signing up for if you are trying to be an actor. If anything, I mean, I've always thought like the less people know about you, the easier the job of acting is. And this shit is like, I genuinely feel so bad for them. It's so image-based. It's so like transient and like ephemeral, and who cares? But if you don't do it, you're being told you're doing it wrong.
What we don't yet have enough data around is like, are these people with the massive followings that then go and create a show or star in said film, is their ROI, is their return on investment, are the people that are double tapping the same kind of people that are inclined to consume the product? There might be a time in which we say the attention economy does not actually convert in a substantive way.
I don't think it does.
I'm not sure it does either.
Yeah.
But again, I think right now it's sort of like people just wanting to test the model because what else is there to do?
Yeah. This is how they promote movies now, how they promote shows, how they sort of do everything. It's all about like how to creatively like get it out to people through socials.
Yes.
And people are very good at it now, but I'm happy that it seemed like a very short window when they thought people with a lot of Instagram followers would then be like movie stars immediately.
Yeah.
And that was proven wrong pretty quickly.
Are there actors whose careers you really revere and kind of look at as a blueprint for how you had wanted or want your career to be?
Yes. I mean, back in the day, purely just based on their performances, I think like some would say that they didn't navigate the business well at all. I love Deborah Winger. She was like pretty much like exiled from Hollywood. I have a lot of examples of people like that who I love. But now I think that there are people who are weathering it in a way that's really interesting and using it to their advantage. Emma Stone does it really well. She like dances that dance sort of beautifully, and that she's doing all these really cool sort of art house things, maintaining a public persona, but it just seems like people want more of her instead of her trying to convince people to want more of her, if that makes sense.
It does.
But then like the people that I respect now are honestly the people that like opt out of any of that shit and just are trying to like make stuff that speaks to them. Like I just watched that show, the I Love LA show. Did you watch it?
I did last night.
I'm such a fan of Rachel Sennett. I think she is so special.
Huge fan.
Oh my God, she's amazing. Like since the Shiva Baby movie, like she's so good. I have a lot of like elder millennial judgments about that generation, but I actually think as far as like a comment on that generation and what is happening, like I don't know if you could do a better job than that. I was bracing to really dislike it because I don't like that world. I don't get that, and I really liked it. It felt like, you know, Lena Dunham did it in a totally different climate.
I love the idea of making a show that's a commentary on influencer culture.
Yes.
I felt like the layer of commentary that was like, I guess, like satirizing was sort of missing. And again, it's just a pilot. We've only seen one episode. I'm a big proponent of like letting things cook. Yes. But I walked away from it and you evoked Girls. And I remember like the pilot to Girls for me is like airtight AF. You finish that pilot and you are like locked and loaded. Let's go. Lena, where you take me, I follow.
Brilliant.
And I left this show thinking like, I'm not sure. I didn't leave the pilot thinking there's like a runway for more necessarily.
Yeah.
I've heard it gets better over time. I will continue to watch it.
I'm excited to see where it goes. And I wish that like brains as impressive as hers, like I wish that they were commenting on something that I think a lot of us older people found more interesting.
I'm challenged by the television landscape now with this 8-episode order for a season, because I think especially with young developing auteurs, you know, we grew up in a time when a season of television was 22, 24 episodes, and I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the show that formed me, was on 6-7 months a year, because also they would take a few weeks off here and there. It occupied so much of the school year. It's Buffy season, you know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people today are just deprived of the ability to like stay with a show for an extended period of time, because the model is so much about consolidation.
Yeah, and then like big gaps between short seasons is really difficult. And then anytime they do a thing where they drop a show like week to week, it works so well for people. Like, I think The English Teacher is the most airtight sitcom, like modern sitcom right now. Those characters are like proper archetypal sitcom characters. You know that character's going to say that. You know that character's going to... And we don't get that anymore. Yes. And it's a short season, and it's like that makes... That like cuts the satisfaction down for sure. But I think it's funny and following an old model.
I think a challenge because that was released all at once, is that as someone who is sort of like tries to really read the temperature of like how people are reacting to things, that's really my sweet spot. When something drops all at once, I remember, I forget what show it was that recently came out, they dumped it all at once, and I log onto Entertainment Weekly in the morning, and it's like, what happened in that shocking finale? And I was like, wait a minute.
No.
And so I think it creates a culture in which you feel like you're out of the loop so instantly.
Yeah.
And I know for me, my consumption habit is such where if I feel like I'm out of it, I won't even dip a toe, because I'm like, you know, train's already left the station. And so I totally agree with you about the weekly model, because there are a lot of people like with I Love LA that have this whole week to catch up on week 1, or might tune in for episode 2, love it, and then be like, I'm going to backlog and catch one episode.
Yeah, and you don't feel that behind. And it sucks to work on something for so long and then it's over in a weekend.
Yes.
Like, I hate that.
Yeah. On Freaks and Geeks, a beloved show that needed more time, you were brought in as girl number 1.
That's right.
Who appeared in the pilot episode.
Yeah.
But then we got you back for 3 more episodes.
Yeah.
And we learn soon after girl number 1 evolves to become Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah with no H.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what was the thing that made them say girl number 1 deserves the spotlight?
No idea. Like, genuinely no idea. I think Allison Jones, who cast that show, is a genius. She has discovered so many. I mean, the amount of people who are in that show it's like astounding. And, you know, I had one line in the pilot as girl number one, but I delivered it to Ben Foster, who was like doing some incredible character.
What a cast.
Oh my God. Like literally everybody amazing. And I'm not even grouping myself. I lucked into that completely. Everybody auditioned for the main part, and then they, you know, you would get callbacks for different roles. And I was really young. I was 15 and the pilot. And I thought, you know, I decided to become an actress like that year. And I was like, well, I'm obviously going to be the star of every show. And I'm a very serious, well-respected actor. I mean, like, it hadn't even crossed my mind to be an actress like 2 months before. And then I got the part of girl number one. And I was kind of like, So I did one line on the show. I was terrified. I didn't talk to anybody. I was so shy. The vibes were not vibing on set. That is not the reason why they called me back. I don't know why they did. I really was just like shy and weird.
Okay, so you do Freaks and Geeks. Mean Girls comes along, obviously a huge hit, but I'm wondering about the period immediately following Mean Girls. Were you feeling like a lot of what you were seeing were sort of derivative Janis Ians, and were you specifically mining for parts that were anti-Janis, or where was your headspace as an actor in terms of the next step?
Like the road was very limited for the Janices of the world. You were like the best friend, and occasion like it wasn't a guarantee that the like goth alt best friend was going to even be a role in anything. It wasn't like a given. At that time, you wanted to be the girl, like the ingenue, and if you were the Janis, then the ingenue avenue was like just not available to you. So my whole thing was to not get typecast. And I look at it now, how things are now, and that's the main girl. The Janis is now the main girl in the teen shows, which is amazing.
Because the Janis is the girl that the internet loves to uplift.
Yes.
The girl left of center.
It's so true. And like the popular girl or the like, you know, girl next door, those are not the interesting characters anymore.
No, yeah.
I didn't want to be known as only this like goth girl. I did everything I could to like be seen as anything other than that, which meant I like changed the way I looked, and I did a WB show, and none of it, you know, eventually I like was pulled back into the safe brunette cynical arms of the alternative friend.
The oddball types are sort of the celebrated ones these days, and it's sort of like there's more cynicism cast on the popular girl. Do you sort of view that as like a pendulum, and do you think there will come a time, do you think it will swing back and the popular girl will have her day once again?
I do. Thank goodness. The blonde cheerleader will rise again. Yes. No, I do. I mean, I think it's already starting, to be honest. Sydney Sweeney, she's doing all right.
If that becomes sort of like the mainstream again, then do the Janisian types become more aspirational when they're out of popularity? It sort of becomes people are driven towards that because of the subculture appeal.
I think so. I think they do gravitate towards, again, something that they can like feel is theirs and not everybody's.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like fully on the other side, because it's not like, captain of the football team, will it swing back to that? Possibly, but it's also like the nerds are running the world now, and they're the ones that are like signing the checks and greenlighting the shows because they're the streaming services. So maybe they don't want, I don't know, maybe it is going to just be like Lord of the Rings forever until your television explodes. I don't know.
How much time do you spend thinking about this? Because like this is a topic right now that I spend a lot of time musing about, sort of like what the business was, what direction it's going, where did we go wrong, what have you. But like, I'm curious as an actor, like, is this something?
Oh yeah, and it's on everybody's lips, every actor I know. And since I've moved to New York, I know that it's real because in LA, people just talk about this shit all the time. But if people in New York and in London are talking about it, then you know it's like real and something to really be nervous about. I think this period of time has been horrible for our business, really scary for so many people, like career actors, career writers, people that I came up with who should be sitting in a really nice house, like reaping the benefits of 25 years of work. And they're like, can I pay my mortgage? Shit's really weird. Like the strike and then the aftermath of the strike and everything sort of constricting, and now there's like half of the production that was happening before, and people are fully fucking panicking. So I always am like, I don't know, I'm always optimistic that like things are going to go back to how they were. I don't think they will fully go back to how they were, but I do think that things that work are still the things that would have worked back then. We still love being surprised by like an insane out of left field performance from somebody we're not super familiar with, like Task, which goddamn I love Task so much. I feel like nobody but HBO would cast Tom Pelphrey in that part. Like Apple or whatever would have to have some mega movie star in there, and people don't. I do think that audiences are more excited by the feeling of discovery than tuning into somebody they know what they're going to do or have a rough idea of what they're going to do.
I love that you say that. I totally agree with you, and I think people undervalue the joy of discovery. And I know for me, as someone who loves to sound the alarm when I've discovered something, there's a pride one feels in discovering a thing or a person or a show, what have you, and being able to say, are you watching this? Have you seen this? It's like, I felt that way with Jury Duty on Freevee.
So good.
Where I was just like, you know, here's this cast of, I say nobody's not in a derogatory way, you know, unknowns.
Yes.
Not nobodies.
Yes.
Excuse me. Ann Marsden, your co-star from Bachelorette.
So good in that show.
But that's an example of like, it was a show that it was exciting to find and be like, wait a minute, are you watching Jury Duty? And you felt like you could indoctrinate new viewers because it took a risk. And I think that like risk, discovery, these are all words that I think audiences, when treated with the dignity of brains that I think a lot of audiences do have, I think really do respond well to. So that gives me some hope.
I always think about like Apple put so much money behind their shows with like massive movie stars in them, but their shows that seem to be working the most are the Ted Lassos, the Severances. And I mean, Adam Scott, obviously a well-known actor, but he's not Jason Momoa, which was like the shows that they were sort of putting everything behind. Netflix, Baby Reindeer, Adolescence, like these are the shows that are rising to the surface and not the ones that they have so many eyes on and the algorithm and the knob that you're turning and all that shit.
But, you know, you evoke Adolescence. That's a great example of like a game-changing moment, only 4 episodes. So often when I love a thing, I'm like, I wish there were more of the thing to love. And it's so rare that I have something that I love these days that I'm able to like luxuriate in.
I know.
Partied out. It was devastating for me to learn that you would not be coming back for. Did they call it season 3 or like a revival or like
reboot?
What? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So they announced this is happening. You are not involved due to scheduling conflicts. You were working on the Fatal Attraction series at the
Fleischman.
time.
I was working on
That was Fleischman?
Yes.
Okay. That changes it.
It does. It really does.
Okay. But you're not able to be involved in this show that I know is so meaningful to you, so meaningful to others. Casey does pop up in the final episode, so she's not forgotten. But what was that like for you? And now that I know it's Fleischman, you're working on something amazing and spectacular, and I'm sure having a great time, and it's forbidding you from working on, which is kind of a good predicament to be in some sense.
It sucked. It was so rough. I mean, we had been talking about having another season or a revival of some kind of that show forever, and then it actually like I didn't think it would ever happen, and then it did, and then I was really faced with like a decision. You have to do this or this. Like you cannot do both, because Fleischman was in New York. It was still very locked down, so you couldn't just like hop on a plane because of all the COVID stuff, like the COVID testing protocols that you'd have to do in each place. And it was so sad. I was so sad. Definitely cried. Definitely, it broke my heart. But for many reasons, it felt like the right decision to choose Fleischman. Part of it was my family, I just had my son. He's 3.5 months old when we started shooting. We wanted to try out living in New York. That would have afforded us that. It was a more consistent gig. It would have paid better. All of these things are like logistically sure. And my husband, Tom, said to me, and it was the best advice in the best moment because I was really torn. I didn't know what to do. I'm very loyal to like my scrappy little shows. And he was like, you can either look to the past or look to the future. And like, what do you want to do? And it felt like in that moment, it was a no-brainer. You have to move forward. So even though it was so heartbreaking, and I really thought like, oh, it's going to do so well, and then we're going to get a 4th season, and there's going to be like a happy ending to all of this, which I haven't heard anything about.
But to me, that is, again, like a marketing failure, because I felt like qualitatively it was so deserving of a season 4.
Good.
And I wonder, too, now with the severance essence in Adam's life, if that could reposition the vitality of a 4th season. I mean, I look at what's happening with the comeback, right?
Oh, best ever. Just rewatched the first 2 seasons because my husband had never seen it. Oh my God, that show. Talk about like holds up and is like even more insanely amazing now than ever.
I was on set for season 3 recently.
Is it going to be good?
It's going to be good. I've been noodling in my head for like, what would be the premise? What would be the thing that invites a camera crew back into Valerie's life with where things ended? And MPK, they solved the riddle.
Okay.
There's a lot of actually parallels between Party Down and the comeback, especially in sort of like the rabid fandom, both having 2 seasons. But it's interesting that, you know, it kind of shows with the comeback coming back. It's like you can kind of put things down for quite some time. And as the stars that are a part of these things, as they rise and fall and what have you, it can kind of create a different viability around whether something can come back, and it doesn't have to be a set timing. So it's like, though it would be great to go right into production on season 4 of Party Down, it is the kind of thing that like maybe 6 years from now.
Totally.
When we do see Casey in the finale, she's become famous, and she talks about sort of how fame has made her quite unhappy. Going back to your like early career, you know, in that window, Freaks and Geeks, through like post Mean Girls and everything, when you were really having your come up, if you will. Did you feel there was a correlation at all between fame and happiness?
No, of course not. I mean, no way. Also, I was fortunate that like whatever climb I had felt very slow. The only time I ever felt like, okay, I got everything that I've been really working towards was getting the Masters of Sex job. And I loved doing that, but like being able to do a drama, being able to do like a prestige drama on a cable show, that's like truly was my dream. And getting to do that felt like reaching this like a goal. And then one quickly realizes, and my therapist at the time said this, and it was like, yeah, that's exactly it. She's like, it's just not all that it's cracked up to be, like at all. If anything, like it sucks. And the pressure, I don't do well with that kind of external pressure. I didn't like the way that it felt. I don't even want to watch anything I do. I just want to like go on set and make the thing and then have it disappear. Like that works for me. The experience alone is great. And then I was younger at the time. There was a lot more pressure on me then at like 29, 30 and in this show that was doing well. And I just felt so deeply uncomfortable about it the whole time. Like I really didn't like it. But I'm also like not really cut out for it. Some people are like built for it in a way that I'm not.
I agree that there are people that I think are uniquely built for it. When you were presented with, you know, where Casey is, did they create any sort of conversation with you around like, we want to parallel this around what we think life might have been like for you or something?
No, they didn't. And I know they had like, because this decision was, they had a whole other story for her when I was going to be in the show. But I think that's such a great way to do what they ended up doing with that one final episode was just like, yeah, she got it. She got the thing and she hates it. But it doesn't matter because the Henry character, the Adam Scott character, no matter what, he didn't get what she got. So even there's no conversation that Casey could have with Henry to fully explain why it's not all that it's cracked up to be or why it falls short. Because if that was something that you wanted at any point, you still need to sort of, there's a part of you that will always need to make that assessment on your own. Like I don't think it makes anybody feel better to be like, being famous, look, it actually sucks. Like Ariana Grande telling her friend, like, being famous, like, no, that friend needs to actually become famous and see it for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is especially interesting because Henry begins the show with a modicum of fame.
Yeah.
He is considered the famous guy
yes.
within the group who they're all like, oh, I can't believe this guy is here. And so to see where it all lands,
Totally.
it's just really smart. Well, before I let you go, I do want to ask, because you made the move from LA to New York, so you made it during Fleischmann and then decided to stay?
No, we came here for Fleischmann for like 6 months, and then we went back to LA, and then we went to my husband. Tom is British, so we do half the time. We were doing half the time in London, half the time in LA, which is hard to do. And then we now have a kid, and we realized, okay, we have like X amount of years to figure out where we want to live before we have to go to school.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, just like work was bringing us here a lot, and it's also our favorite place, and it's also like halfway between the two places, and I am so obsessed with it here. Like, I love Brooklyn so much. I don't know how it's a real place that exists. Like, I cannot imagine raising a kid anywhere else. And also just comparing it to my hometown of LA, which I always, always, always will speak highly of and have like so much love for. But I think at the end of the day, for me, I definitely like around other parents or whatever, all I want is like a community that feels nourishing to me. And in LA, it's really difficult to find that. And like my favorite people in the world, so many of them live in LA, but it's just a more isolated existence. And here you're forced to butt up against other human beings. And for me, that's like, I need that for sanity. I can't just be locked away somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best restaurant in Fort Greene?
Ooh. I'm very partial to Strange Delight. I love Strange Delight. I love Sook. Delicious. And I went for the second time to Theodora.
Don't get me started.
2 days ago. God damn, that's such a good ass restaurant.
So you know that's a sister restaurant to Masada.
Yes, I do.
And then have you been to Thea, the bakery?
So many times.
Yeah. Yeah, Theodora is incredible.
Unreal.
And a little unsung, which is probably a good thing.
I think it's now getting to be on like every list. But everything that opens there, the St. Street cakes, have you been there yet?
No.
So this place kind of blew up because they have an amazing chocolate chip cookie, but it's like an old school like English cake shop. It feels like you get slices of cake. It's not pastries. And then they have these mini cakes and these like cake things in glasses like martinis, and then bomb ass cookies, but only like 2 or 3. And the girl who runs it, Morgan, is just like this beautiful like young girl who opened up a bakery and is like thriving. She's like living every rom-com dream right in Fort Greene.
I want that life.
Yeah, me too.
That's nice.
We're too old for that.
Yeah, we can dream.
Yeah.
Lizzy Caplan, it's been a pleasure.
A pleasure.
Do you think it will be 2 years until we meet again?
I don't, because now I live here and it's on. Like
Okay.
Donkey Kong.
Okay. Because we had a good time that night.
I know.
I was like, she's such a real one.
Dude, anytime you want to hang out, I'll hang out. How about that?
Great.
How about that?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This was so lovely.
I know, so
You're so easy to
nice.
talk to.
Well, more of the same, I guess.